When you think about cybercrime, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably some scene ripped straight from a movie, right? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the real world of computer intrusions and the incredible digital forensics used to solve them. Let's get into it.
Okay, so check this out. This quote is actually about old-school safecrackers from way back in the 70s, but wow, does it nail what we're talking about today. Our mental picture of a criminal is often miles away from the truth, and just like the safecracker went from being a brute with a crowbar to a skilled technician, the computer intruder has evolved too.
So let's just bust the biggest myth right now, the whole lone hacker in a dark room wearing a hoodie. The reality, modern cybercrime is a business, a very organized one. We're talking about sophisticated criminal groups and even state-sponsored organizations who break into systems for all sorts of reasons, from pure financial gain to geopolitical strategy.
So you might be wondering, how do these new digital safecrackers actually pull it off? It's not just some magic, frantic keyboard smash. Nope, it's a methodical process, a playbook that they follow to get inside.
And that playbook usually has four main parts. First, they do their homework. That's reconnaissance. Then they break in, the attack. After that, they make themselves at home and try to hide. That's entrenchment. And finally, they do what they came for, the abuse.
All right, step 1, reconnaissance. This is literally them casing the joint. An attacker uses a tool, kind of like the Nmap scan you're seeing here, to just poke around a network. They're looking for open ports, which you can seriously think of as unlocked doors and windows, and checking what services are running that they might be able to break.
Okay, so once they've found that unlocked window, it's time to go in. This here is a classic tool from the Metasploit framework, basically a hacker's Swiss Army knife. They're loading up a specific exploit. That's a fancy word for a piece of code that targets a known screw-up in the system. They aim it at the target, and when they type exploit,
Boom! Just like that, a connection opens up, and they're in. The digital door has just been kicked wide open.
But, getting in, that's just the start. Now comes entrenchment. This is where they dig in for the long haul. They install backdoors and rootkits. These are sneaky tools that hide their presence and let them come and go as they please. And then, finally, the abuse phase. This is the whole point of the break-in. Stealing credit card numbers, corporate secrets, or maybe even using that computer to attack someone else.
So the crime's done. The hacker is like a ghost in the machine, busy wiping their fingerprints. But for the investigator, the digital hunter, the chase is just getting started. And let me tell you, it is an incredible challenge.
So what makes it so tough? Well, unlike a physical crime scene you can tape off, a digital one is alive. It's always changing. Evidence can be wiped with a single command, or poof, gone, just by shutting the computer down.
And the absolute heart of this challenge is something called volatile data. Think of this as everything happening in the computer's short-term memory. It's RAM. It is an absolute goldmine of evidence, what programs were running, who is connected, but it's all temporary. The second you pull the plug, it vanishes forever.
Because of that, investigators are in a mad dash. They have to follow what's called the order of volatility. They have to grab the most fragile evidence first, all that stuff in memory, and then work their way down to the more permanent things on the hard drive. It is a frantic race against the clock.
Okay, so let's see what this looks like in the real world. Once they've hopefully saved that volatile data, the real detective work begins, the post-mortem. This is where the digital hunter starts following the breadcrumbs the hacker left behind.
Okay, check this out. This is a real-world case. An investigator is looking at all the programs running live on a compromised server, and right away, two things jump out. These two processes, SQI-DAG-conv and SQI-DAG-omrv, they just don't belong. They look really suspicious.
And this is where it gets really cool. This is the detective work. Using a whole set of specialized tools, they start connecting the dots. They find out one of those weird programs is listening for connections from the internet on a weird port. Another tool shows it was started up specifically to run the command prompt. And then, digging into the system's core settings, the registry, they see it set up to start itself automatically every single time the server reboots.
So, what's the verdict? That suspicious program? It wasn't a system file at all. It was a classic hacking tool called Netcat, just disguised with a tricky name. The intruder had planted a backdoor, giving themselves a secret, permanent way to control that server from anywhere in the world.
This whole cat and mouse game, it's more than just a fun technical puzzle. It's a piece of a much bigger, often invisible cyber war that honestly affects every single one of us, from our own personal data to the power grid.
And the people trying to solve these crimes, they are up against some incredible odds. I mean, they're facing adversaries with serious technical skills who could be operating from halfway across the world, making it almost impossible to prosecute. Every single move they make on a live system could actually destroy the evidence they're looking for. And to top it all off, the malware itself is often built to hide and fight back against their tools.
So what this all comes down to is a never-ending arms race. The attackers get smarter, and the defenders have to adapt. The tools and the tactics on both sides are constantly changing. And it leaves us with a really big question about our digital future. As the attackers get better and their tools get more sophisticated, can the defenders ever do more than just play catch-up? Can they ever truly get ahead?